Good evening and welcome to the news at 7:30. Making the headlines tonight, World Technovation champion receives a check for 1 million naira each. Anambra State Internal Revenue Service seals off UBA branches across the state. Secretary to the government of the Federation, Mr. Mustafa, says nobody can Islamize Nigeria. And on the foreign scene, UK Prime Minister May pledges £4 billion in support for African economies. My name is Chidima Oranwa. Now the details of the news. Governor William Obiano has presented checks for 1 million naira each to the 6 students of Regina Passes Model School Onitsha that won the World Technovation Challenge held recently in San Francisco, USA. Governor Obiano made the presentation during a reception organized for the champions at the Governor's Lodge, Emobia. Government House correspondent Kende Chukwuafama was there and now tells us more.
The world champions who represented Nigeria and Africa in the competition defeated their contemporaries in 9 technologically advanced countries, including the USA, India, Turkey, China, Uzbekistan, and Spain, among others, with a mobile application called FD Detector developed to help tackle the challenge of fake pharmaceutical products. Also at the ceremony, which was used to mark the 27th anniversary of the creation of Anambra State, the governor announced scholarships for the students up till their first university degree. The principal of the school, Reverend Father Vincent Ezaka, and the mentor of the students, Mrs. Uche Onwamwebugu, also received checks for 2 million naira each from the state government. Presenting the checks, Governor Obiano said it was in celebration of the heroic exploits done by the students that have brought honor to the state. He noted that the achievement points to the fact that the partnership between his administration and the church is truly working, as well as reflects his government's strides in the area of girl-child education.
So this is what we are trying to do to encourage our students. I want to say that first, we thank God for this success. Secondly, I must commend the partnership we have in education with the mission schools, and the schools are doing well. I also want to commend the community schools that we have worked, day and night to improve. I want to tell you that a few things we did differently to make sure that teachers in the hard-to-reach area get to school as and when to, and deliver on their service. First is the payment of the quarter of their salary every month, additional quarter of their salary every month. Teachers posted to the hard-to-reach area. Secondly, we are building 80-room blocks in 7 communities.
The governor commended teachers in the state, especially those of the winning school, for effectively driving his administration's vision for the state education sector, assuring that he is committed to setting a model that will guarantee sustainable advancement for the sector. The member representing Anambra Central Senatorial District in the National Assembly, Senator Victor Ume, said the feat achieved by the girls gives credence to the efforts of the present administration in transforming the state education sector.
I sent the governor a congratulatory message. I said, the money we get to the mission schools, apart from the efforts they're making in the public schools, coincided with the performance of these girls. So they didn't just go there to win. They won because of the efforts of the governor of Anambra State. So really, this comes with celebration, and we want to say, keep it up. The awards we've been winning in other sectors bear a local testimony to the fact that this state is moving with great speed beyond what people can imagine.
In her remark, the Commissioner for Basic Education, Professor Keito Menoga, pointed out that with the inputs of the state government, Anambra students have become more emboldened and better poised to compete with their contemporaries globally, adding that the state is presently reaping the dividends with the laurels her students are winning everywhere.
And what I find interesting really is that the kind of motion they move. One of them said, small tourism has done more harm than good. And these children were able on their own to defend this and move that motion, and they won the cup and came back.
in their goodwill messages. Former Governor Dame Veje Tiaba, the Anglican Bishop on the Niger, Right Reverend Owen Nwokolo, and the Auxiliary Bishop of Oka Catholic Diocese, Most Reverend Jonas Benson Okoye, lauded the governor's belief and investment in the capacity of the youths, noting that his huge investments in the education sector lends credence to this fact. For the mentor of the students, Mrs. Ugu, while the state celebrates the outstanding brilliance exhibited by the girls, there is need to build on the achievement to reach more students across the various schools in the state. In a vote of thanks, one of the students, Miss Promise Nalue, thanked the governor for his immense support throughout the process and all who worked with them to achieve victory, and promised that they will use the platform availed them by the state government to always make the state proud.
And here we have gotten this token just to tell her thank you for all that she has done for us and for mentoring us so well. And with that, we are presenting this to her.
We thereby crown our mentor, the Big Queen of Africa.
The students who were accompanied to the event by their parents and friends were later presented with checks, certificates of excellence, and the state brooch. From the Governor's Lodge, Amobia, I am Kene Chukwu-Ofoma, reporting for ABS News.
Governor Willie Obiano has been honored alongside the Speaker, State House of Assembly, Barrister Rita Mathawo, by the Nnewi South Local Government Area in recognition of their contributions to the development of the state and the council area. Governor Obiano and the Speaker were honored during the 27th anniversary celebration of Nnewi South Local Government Area, held at St. Mary's Catholic Parish, Ukpo. House of Assembly correspondent Chukwemeka Modlim has details.
Was honored with the title of Ebubago Nnewi South, while the Speaker was honored with the title of Anyanwu Netilora Nnewi South. Speaking after receiving the title, Governor Obiano, represented by the Commissioner for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Community Affairs, Chief Greg Obi, reaffirmed the commitment of his administration to accomplish policies and lofty projects that will meet the yearnings and aspirations of the people.
I didn't take Uno for granted, but I count to Uno. I count to Uno as an ally. Go say to her, daily when on the HHH, I value it, Ebubago. I value so much. In short, Warrank among the Prince HHH. So Nnewi South is Kunuchi.
On her part, the Speaker, Barrister Mathawo, thanked the people of Nnewi South for honoring her, assuring that the House, under her watch, would continue to enact laws that would transform Anambra to a model state with opportunities for all. In his remark, the Transition Committee Chairman, Nnewi South Local Government Area, Chief Felix Odimegwu, explained that the essence of the ceremony was to honor their eminent sons, daughters, and Anambrarians who have contributed immensely to the development of Nnewi South Local Government Area and the Anambra State in general. In an interview, the member representing Nnewi South 1 constituency, Mr. Kinsley Iruba, who was among those honored by the local government area, said the honor has spurred him to render more fruitful services to the state. From Okpo, Chukwemeka Modelim, ABS News.
The Legal Enforcement Unit of the Anambra State Internal Revenue Service today sealed off branches of the United Bank for Africa UBA across the state following tax remittance irregularities. The SELAF has left misbanking customers disappointed as automated teller machines, ATMs and safe banks are also shut down. Correspondent Daniel Ezekwe monitored the situation and now reports.
At each of the bank's branches visited, stranded customers and staff members were greeted with cut-back distress stickers pasted on the bank's entrances, while security agents and compliance monitoring officers from the Revenue Office hang around the banks. Giving a breakdown of the impasse, the chairman and chief executive of the Anambra State Internal Revenue Service, Dr. David Nzekwo, said the board was acting in line with this train order, compelling the bank to be sealed following non-remittance of 6.9 billion naira tax revenue accrued from the personal income tax deductions from its employees. He said the money is owed between 2006 and 2011, noting that the bank, having failed to provide the necessary documents needed for an audit in 2017, was served a preceding best of judgment assessment notice, of which its default has led to the seal-off. Stressing that the board exercised its powers in line with the best legal standard, Dr. Nzekwo regretted the inconveniences caused by the seal-off on customers, adding that the board is always open for negotiations.
We are guided by relevant sections of the law in conducting our activities. And we also have regards that the corporate citizens in the state are part of the state. Therefore, we give due regards and we give UBA every opportunity to comply with the requirements of the law so that we can do our job. We had to follow the law. We approached the court to seek an order from the court to enable us levy execution so that the tax remittances that UBA is supposed to make to the state, which were not made, for which they were served the necessary documents, will be recovered for the state. And the court heard the case and issued an order which we have executed today.
Picking out their disappointments, some UBA customers, Chief Emmanuel Ejidike and Mr. Dealers Ilebunam, called for an immediate resolution of the face-off as both customers and state's revenue base are badly affected.
I'm here to do transaction this morning. Unfortunately, on getting to this place, the whole place is sealed. Further inquiry I was meant to understand that government have given them overtax from what they used to pay. So the issue now boils down to the citizenry. Everybody is suffering it now. Like myself, I've come here to do transaction for my daily activity. Today now I'm disappointed.
I'm here to collect some money for our daily activities, but you can see we could not achieve it. I met one of the bankers. They told me, without hiding their feelings, that the reason is that the government of Anambra State gave the UBA an entity over taxation.
In Oka, Daniel Ezekwe, ABS News.
A two-day nutrition intervention training of trainers workshop TOT was ended in Oka with the church and participants to establish a vegetable garden in their compounds. The training organized by the IFAD VCDP for extension agents, facilitators and farmers took place at the conference hall of the Agricultural Development Program Office in Oka. Agri-correspondent Abeleze has details.
The State Project Coordinator, IFAD VCDP, Mr. Anambra said the training was aimed at reducing the percentage of malnutrition among farmers and children in the communities. Mr. Aguncha, who announced that the training will take place in the 5 participating council areas, noted that one is what he eats. Identifying nutrition as a very important component in what the IFAD VCDP is doing, Mr. Aguncha charged them to listen attentively, participate actively for easy dissemination to others.
We support both producers, processors, and marketers. And we consider it very necessary to introduce the nutrition aspect. It's not only production that is necessary. But when farmers produce, it's always also necessary to introduce to them ways of making full use of what they produce. as far as nutrition is concerned.
The Agricultural Development Program Manager, ADP, Mr. Jude Wankwo, said to get the actual nutrition the body requires, vegetables and other agricultural produce must be served farm fresh.
What we are talking about here is something that has to do with health, something that has to do with life. As reality says, you are what you eat. If you eat well, you live well. If you don't eat well, you listen doctors.
The State Rural Institution Youth Gender Mainstreaming Officer, IFAD VCDP, Mr. Ikechukwu said the component targets to make farmers nutrition conscious so that they can be healthy to farm effectively. In a lecture titled Why Nutrition Matters, a resource person, Barrister Nkiruka Nnemego, noted that they are expected to develop at the end of the training a reporting template on how the trainees can give feedback to the state VCDP, how the training has helped households move from mono form of dieting to a diversified dieting. Some of the participants, Mr. Humphrey Zeku, IFAD VCDP Extension Agent for Ayamelum Council Area, and Mrs. Uju Okafor, a rice farmer from Ubenu, Oka North Council Area, in their separate speeches described the training as an important one and promised to step down the knowledge garnered with their local dialect for internalization.
We have farmers that have been trained already on this very particular subject matter, but we are there to backstop. Make sure that important farmers are being gathered. If they are being trained by us, they will not get down privately into their efforts and step down some of these trainings to them.
They have taught us about farming and all the production, but now for this particular program, we are now learning on how to apply on the best way to eat what we are farming in a better way to nourish our system and also help in health benefits.
From the Agricultural Development Program Office in Oka, I am Ebele Eze, reporting for ABS News.
A former gubernatorial aspirant in the state, Dr. Ifanyoba, has criticized the educational model in the country as lacking in content to address the challenges of unemployment and economic development. The All Progressives Grand Alliance Abga stalwarts in Anambra South Senatorial District was speaking at the second edition of the monthly mentorship moment for Anambra youth through the DJpreneur Hub. David Apokosile was there for the ABS and now reports.
A program powered by DigiPreneur Hub, a capacity development initiative, Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Youth Development and Digital Entrepreneurship, Mr. Ifeanyi had over 1,000 young persons from Anambra State and beyond in attendance. Dr. Bahu was the mentor of the month, used the Chinese model of education where students are trained alongside acquiring technical and entrepreneurial skills to underscore the need for a total overhaul of the educational system in Nigeria to empower graduates with the wherewithal to address challenges facing the society and provide jobs. He went further to call for a policy redirection that will focus on maximizing the economic potential embedded in the youth of the state and the country as the only way to bring economic revolution.
If your foundation does not address some of this kind of issue, you cannot discuss what you don't know. You cannot say what you don't know. But irrespective of this, we must congratulate our governor, Dr. Willie Obiano, who has done so much to bring a lot of investors back home. The most important thing is for us to look into his strives, to look into his economic blueprint and see where we can support him and see also where we can implement some of his visions.
The organizer of the event and Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Youth Development and Digital Entrepreneurship, Mr. Aniago, said that the purpose of creating the platform is to create an avenue for the young to develop themselves, engage in value reorientation, and become self-reliant.
With the vision of the governor, the idea of empowerment is not when you just gather people and give them crash program and then share money to them. No, you first of all prepare the minds of the people through self-development. Then next you give them value orientation so that they have the right thinking pattern.
The mentoring moment with Ifeanyi Anago, as it is called, was birthed at the last Digipreneur Week held in June, and so far has had Mr. Stanley Ugochukwu of Stanley Award as the mentor of the month of July, and the initiative targets reaching at least 1,000 young persons at each edition. For the August edition, 10 of the youth selected through a raffle draw will be sponsored to the World Trade Fair holding in China from October 15th, including Ikweemeka Ilun of Iftedunu for his royal presence in an all-expense-paid trip by Dr. Ifeanyi Uba.
It's just the grace of God. I feel so happy. I feel so delighted. I'm very proud of myself. It's by the grace of God.
Bringing somebody who has been well established helps a lot, because in life, every person needs a mentor. You need somebody you will look up to. I want to be like this person.
In Oka, this is David Opokwase reporting for ABS News.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, Mr. Boss Mustafa, has assured Christians that the notion that there were attempts to Islamize Nigeria was a dummy being sold by enemies of the country who were out to plunge it into religious war. The SGF, who spoke at a two-day peace summit organized by Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Northern Region in Jos, said the federal government remained committed to ending this current insecurity facing the country and called for the support of all, while enjoining the church to always speak the truth at all times, as nobody can kill the gospel. The SGF charged them to always be their brother's keepers at all times and continue to preach peace. Major General Paul Taffa, retired, to deliver the keynote address at the event, urged Christians, religious leaders, especially those in northern Nigeria, to encourage their congregation to participate in politics and vote for candidates of their choice, but desist from dragging the church into politics. The state governor Simon Lalong, who declared the event open, said the theme of the summit was apt and draws to mind the necessity of peace and security as a panacea for sustainable development. The summit attracted Christian leaders in the 19 northern states and the FCT and the national president of CAN, Reverend Supo Ayakunle, who was represented at the event. Now business news. Former chairman of Nigerian Labour Congress NLC, Ayodeji Aluko, and the Trade Union Congress TUC, Kolowole Olaiya, has been barred from labor unionism for a period of 10 years for allegedly spearheading a protest where they declared an indefinite strike without authorization. The joint section of Ekiti trade unions took the decision yesterday in Ado-Ekiti at the Congress presided over by the NLC chairman Ado Adesomi and the TUC counterpart Odundayo Adeshoye, attended by representatives of all affiliated unions. The workers also passed a vote of confidence on the leadership of the two unions in the state, declaring the dissolution pronouncement made during last Thursday's rally by the two former labor leaders as unconstitutional, null and void. Olaiya and Aluko had last Thursday held a protest at the state secretariat in Ado-Ekiti, where they dissolved the state executive of the two trade unions for alleged compromise and inability to declare indefinite strike over non-payment of salaries. Addressing journalists after the Congress, the NLC chairman, Comrade Adesomi, called on the security agencies in the state to call the two ex-labor leaders to order. Olaiya and Aluko could not be reached for comments on their ban from union matters as their phones were switched off. And from the entertainment world, the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Star Times TV network, says it is partnering Nollywood for the exclusive broadcast of the 2018 Queen of Nollywood reality TV show. Frank Ikegwonwu, president of the Nollywood Executives and Leadership Awards, and Emeka Rollas, president, Actors Guild of Nigeria, AGN, made the disclosure on Monday in Lagos. Ikegwonwu, also the founder of the Queen of Nollywood reality show, said that the show focused on drama and cultural entertainment with strict adherence to the African culture and traditions. According to him, 20 female contestants will feature in the Talent Hunt program that will air and document unscripted real-life situations with Nollywood celebrities. He said these contestants will be expected to mimic 4 of Nollywood's most outstanding actresses, Mercy Johnson, Patience Ozoko, Funke Akindele, and the Queen Nwokoye. Ikegwonwu said that 6 winners will emerge and be coronated Queen of Nollywood brand ambassadors with award, cash prizes, certificates, presentations of pet projects and one-year film contracts. On his part, Tunde Aina, Chief Operating Officer NTA Star Times, said Queen of Nollywood Talent Hunt reality TV show focused on promoting the Nigerian indigenous arts and culture to the world. Meanwhile, Said Yademinsi, Chairman Turkish Film Commission, has said that the commission will support by hosting the brand ambassadors and the winners of the show in their capital, Istanbul. Theresa May has announced plans to boost Britain's investment in Africa after Brexit during her first trip to the continent as Prime Minister. In a speech in Cape Town, she pledged £4 billion in support for African economies to create jobs for young people. She also pledged a fundamental shift in aid spending to focus on long-term economic and security challenges rather than short-term poverty reduction. She will also visit Nigeria and Kenya during the three-day trade mission. The trip, which will see Mrs. May meet the presidents of all three countries, aims to deepen economic and trade ties with growing African economies ahead of Britain leaving the EU in 2019. Arriving in South Africa on Tuesday morning, Mrs. May is expected to say she wants the UK to overtake the US to become the G7's biggest investor in Africa by 2022. She will announce an ambitious new approach to the UK's aid spending in Africa by using it to help British private sector companies invest on the continent. Mrs. May, who said private sector investment is key to driving growth and unleashing the entrepreneurial spirit in Africa, is also respected to say that creating jobs on the continent where many countries have young populations is in the world's interest. She claims that it is the best way to tackle extremism, instability and migration to Europe. Otherwise, the environmental and economic impacts will reach every corner of the world. From the sports world, the Confederation of African Football has approved the Anambra Stadium Aba for the CAF Confederation Cup tie between the seven-time Nigeria champions and Kazra Brazzaville of Congo on Wednesday. According to Anambra's head of media, Pharrell Alapata, a two-man inspection team from CAF visited the newly renovated stadium last week and confirmed its readiness for the tie. Alapata said the team were pleased with the state of facilities and work at the venue and gave CAF's nod for the ground to host the tie. Anambra have been away from the Aba Stadium since November 2015 when they won their seventh Nigeria Premier League title. They have previously played their home games in Calabar, Umuahia, Port Harcourt and Lagos. And just before we go tonight, a quick reminder that you can follow news and programs from any parts of the world by logging onto our website, www.absradiotv.com. You can also like us at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And now the recap of our major stories. Well, Technovation champions receive a check for 1 million naira each. Governor Obiano presented the checks during a reception in their honor at the Governor's Lodge, Amobia. Anambra State Internal Revenue Service seals off UBA branches across the state following irregularities in tax remittance. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Mustafa, says nobody can Islamize Nigeria. And on the foreign scene, we reported that the UK Prime Minister May pledges £4 billion in support for African economies, says Britain's investment in Africa will be boosted after Brexit. And that's the news tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Chidima Orangwa. Have a wonderful night rest.